channel. Today we're going to be taking on the back half of Gunvolt Chronicles Luminous Avenger, starring Copen, the anti-hero from the first and second Azure Striker Gunvolt games, who, as we found out yesterday, actually seems to play about as well, if not even better than he did in the second title. Really digging this game so far. We're at or around halfway through, and we have the kind of conventional mid-game mission where, after taking on a handful of stages that you're allowed to choose between, you have to go through a more streamlined, single story heavy mission. In this case, we're going to be scavenging supplies, specifically some type of curative for one of Copen's street orphan allies, these like children he's looking after, from a medical center. I have a feeling, or I should say I hope, this is where we're going to confront the tutorial stages boss, one of Sumeragi's advanced adepts, who's some kind of samurai. I think they're called Blade. Because we still got 3 adepts in like our main boss roster who we have no idea what they can do. We've seen 2 of them, we have no idea what they can do. But we've seen and fought this guy before, so I'm kind of hoping that, like they did with Tianjin in the second game, we get like the fight against the more or less familiar boss out of the way first. Real quick, let me check. This is also really cool. We can now toggle any of Copen's upgrades. There's no maximum limit, and instead of having to construct them with randomly obtained materials, you get to choose from like kind of a roulette grid at the, or a randomized grid at the end of every mission. You just use money, like that currency you acquire from all of the enemies but couldn't do jack with in the first and second game without those upgrade materials, to acquire all of your upgrades in this game. It's way more streamlined, looks by and large much easier to acquire the baseline upgrades, like the ones you'll be using more often, like extra bullets and slightly more damage from certain types of maneuvers, as long as you play through the stages competently. So I do really dig that. We're going to be digging now into that mid-game mission. I don't think there's anything... Oh, didn't mean to talk, but... Yeah, we saw all this yesterday. Whoopsie. We can now take on this mid-game mission. Don't think we saw the briefing yesterday. We have a new weapon to try out as well. The Tailor's weapon, the guy we fought at the end of yesterday's stream, who, thanks to us having his weakness, didn't really get to show off much of anything he could do. He was a tailor who assumed a beetle-like form and used a moveset that was extremely reliant on explosives and area denial. So I'm hoping we'll get something really powerful, and hopefully a bit more long range out of his adept code, or his Septima. That's what they're called. Okay, not much of a briefing, let's just jump right into it. And it did look like there's emblem fragments here, those like little collectibles we can gather up in order to have Lola transform for the remainder of the stage. So it may be a full-length stage in the vein of Sinner's Row from the first game, instead of one of those longer, shorter form mid-game stages that most Mega Man-esque games tend to favor. Hey, Nugget, how's it going? It's been ages since I've heard from you, man. Hope you're doing well. They ask, what's this? This is the third installment in a series that is very heavily inspired by Mega Man Zero and ZX. Really popular, but unfortunately kind of short-lived handheld series from my childhood that I absolutely adore, and once I finally get everything I need to get that damn capture card working, just need a couple more HDMI cables and one item from my house at this point, and I'll be able to share the Mega Man Zero and ZX collection with you guys on the Switch. Really looking forward to that. It's got phenomenal boss and encounter design, but really crappy, like, non-antagonistic character design. We'll see what we mean shortly. Hey, Kyle, thanks so much for the host, man. I appreciate it. Let's check out this new... Whoa! Yeah, that's what I would have expected. From the Tailor, we get a ridiculously powerful, appears to be longer range explosive that has a really solid AoE. Oh, that reminds me of the attacks that... I'm glad you're back, Nugget, and don't worry about the Dark Souls spoilers, I totally understand that. And can't wait for you to tackle that series again yourself. There's a lot of cool stuff we discovered for the first time ourselves on my streams, so Oh, I see. Oh, damn. I'm supposed to be using these things exclusively to dash around, but I kinda can't because they take all my bullets away. Or the dashes do, I should say. So hold on, there's a better way to do this. Successful dashes restore bullets. Of course they do. Cal says this area is precise. That it is. It says I'm excited to get back into Souls myself. It'll probably be the first thing I stream once I move into a new place. Awesome. I'm thrilled to hear that. And I hope like the quest for a proper and safe place to stay during the pandemic's going well, by the by. This game seems to be a bit more exacting than the earlier two, probably to offset the fact that this character, Copen, is ridiculously strong, like by default. So having like really, really high expectations of your player seems like a decent way to counterbalance that. Oh, this is one of those gold crates, isn't it? Yeah. Oh right, no, we need the CEO's weapon to destroy this. There we go. This game would normally be like just a little too stereotypical anime for my taste, but the boss designs are really, really cool. Cal says this game is harder and more punishing, which you've seen. And I wouldn't say more punishing, really. It just has higher expectations for end-of-stage grading. And since those grades aren't directly relevant to, like, the rewards you get, in terms of, like, upgrade materials and the like, I'm totally fine with that, actually. It doesn't feel, like, ridiculously hard. The second boss we fought, the CEO with the rotating discs and control over gravity, was tough, but not more so than what you'd see in a Mega Man Zero or ZX game. Those games are actually much harder than this. And Nugget says, I'm hopefully going to be moving into a place very close to where we both live. Awesome! I am stoked for that, and especially, hopefully, to, like, hang out with you IRL again. Especially if you're in the area. I may be heading home sometime soon, though. Oh, is it boss time already? Oh, well, it's a good thing the medicine we need is the only one sitting on a well-illuminated, glowing shelf. Yep, it's the samurai. Cal says if you're bad at Gunvolt, the start of the game is now harder because Pervasion costs 2 bullets now. Oh, really? I actually have not noticed that at all. So I'm interested to see what his actual combat style is like. He, like Tianjin from the second game, used a very, very restrained version of his full, like, power at the start of the game. Nugget says, yes, that would be awesome. Totally, I agree. Just let me know when and where. And I may be heading back home for a very, very short time before the start of the well, what I'm going to say passes for a fall semester. So, if you're still in the area, maybe we could set something up then. And dang, I love the character designs in this game. Yes, the designs of our main character and all of the bosses are fantastic, but the designs of the supporting characters, especially like supporting female characters in this series, I kinda hate. They have a tendency to over-sexualize in a way that's kind of icky, and again, doesn't mesh with like the Mega Man aesthetics at all. You'll see what I mean before long. And the voice acting is very satisfying too. Yeah, no, voice acting on the whole is pretty solid. Cal says this boss fight, especially his ultimate's cool. We'll see. The boss he's most reminiscent of, again, a boss from the second game. Nugget says I like the design of this long-haired sword person. Yeah, he's pretty solid looking. Let's see how you feel. Oh, jeez. I see how this is gonna go. Oh, good. You're weak to explosions, like most people would be. Good, good, good. Oh god, I have no idea what I'm doing, but it's working. So we got a strategy that's working. It's not gonna give us a high score or anything, but. Okay, so he's possessed now? Oh, we got him. Like it says in the voice acting of the player character is so good. No, he's really solid. And that was a great quote. Ah, so you're weak to explosions like most people would be. Well, thankfully, like, by sheer luck, apparently a lot of bosses in this game are weak to more than one weapon, unlike in traditional Mega Man titles. And just by sheer happenstance, I've been collecting every boss's weakness in the appropriate order, like in the mission immediately preceding theirs. And it's a good thing, too, because it looked like all his ult did was drive him absolutely batty and make most of his attacks. It looked like most or all of them completely worked around our Prevasion, which is a natural ability we have tied to a special meter we can easily recharge that allows us to instantly dodge most attacks, provided we're not attacking at the same time as they connect. Cal says he's very angry. I was going to tell you that, but didn't want spoilers. Well, he's not exactly angry. He's, again, being possessed by, I'm guessing, the main antagonist, who we haven't seen hide nor hair of yet. Cal says, but you did it anyway. Yeah, it's... Thank you for not spoiling anything, but we're doing okay so far. And Kyle says, or Nugget says, boss weaknesses? What are those? Laughs in Dark Souls. Oh, trust me. I paid no attention whatsoever to weaknesses most of the time in both Dark Souls playthroughs, and had to find out after the fact that, oh, that boss was weak to something I had 20 of. Okay. Oh, so we're just going to leave him here. Again, our main character is kind of a murderous psychopath, or at least was in the first two games, and seems to have toned down a little in this one. And has this vendetta against all of these metahumans. We're going to kill more or less helpless ones in the first two titles. But this guy's okay. Oh, Kyle says, oh, I meant I was gonna say the weaknesses are in order, but didn't want to spoil, and you did it anyway. I gotcha. Oh, we did get his weapon, though. That's interesting. So it's either going to be another melee-based weapon, or... Oh, we got the Thunderbolt trophy, nice. Or it's going to give us a temporary Berserk mode similar to what he used. Yes, I will trust the child with the administration of, like, rare experimental medicine. And here you can kind of see what I mean by, like, supporting character design and how it's not great. Cal says it's less this guy's okay and more this guy's really strong, and Copen didn't have time for this shit, he had to go save Kohaku. And Nugget says, dang, neutrally aligned main character, nice. It's less neutrally aligned and more, he was a genuinely horrible person in the first two games. on a mission to exterminate metahumans for... In the first game, no real reason, and in the second game, it's made explicitly clear for actually a complete nonsense reason, and... Oh, hold on, there we go. More a case that, he was told who was responsible for the death of his father, which is what caused him to go on this, like, genocidal campaign against, metahumans, that it wasn't a metahuman, and that they were, in fact, a major corporation exploiting metahumans, draining them of their power, and throwing away their withered husks to be replaced by new ones, by what was essentially a mind control, J-pop idol program produced by this corporation. I know this sounds like nonsense, it's because it is. And even after learning that, oh wait, superpowered people had nothing to do with this, he resolves to kill all of them anyway, and is like, oh yeah, I'm evil now, whatever. Anime, something. But by this game, he's, for no real reason, or without any character development, apparently way less violent and vindictive than he was in the earlier two. I guess because people found out he was a whole hell of a lot more fun to play as in the second game than the main character. And, now he's all about protecting regular people from abusive metahumans employed by said mega corporation. And Nugget says, I see what you mean. Oh, trust me. It gets worse. It gets a lot worse. And as soon as the anime waifu went, I knew what was about to go down, yeah. Nugget says, dang, I wouldn't mind streaming skill-based side-scroller sometime just to mix things up. Well, the first two Gunvolt games are available on PS4, Xbox One, and Switch, I think, like most major platforms, at a, relatively value price, I would say, somewhere around $35-40, bundled together with most of the DLC for the second game. If you want all of the DLC, you need, the Switch version for whatever reason. And this game is available for $20, I want to say, with a $2 Super Boss stage purchasable as DLC, which we are going to take on next. None of them on PC? Oh, they should be on PC. Yes, they should. Sorry. They're all on Steam, I think. Oh no, this game as well, I believe. And Kyle says I can explain my thoughts about why he's changed once you finished. Would be delighted for that. Right, so time to take on our last 3 adepts, as well as the super boss. Yeah, here's her whole design. And it's so gross! Lola, on the other hand, our little robotic drone, is the best character in the game. Nugget says, how old is she? That's another problem these games have, in general. And again, coming from the Mega Man series, you don't expect this at all, because their character designs for male and female characters alike tend to be really badass. And, again, across the board, the designs for female villains in this series are phenomenal. It's just support characters for some reason. Oh god, that's so gross. No. Super boss time, I guess. So we now have unlocked most of the stages in the game, including a pair of data centers. Cal says Nora didn't have a bad design, though. Was that sort of... what's a good way of putting it? Copen's Majordomo from the second game? If so, that's true. But she also didn't have near as much of a presence as, most other supporting characters in the series have, for whatever reason. But again, his support team in the second game was, I will contend, still the only decent one in the entire series so far. Yeah, the robotic woman who drove the motorcycle, I got you. So we've got a radio tower and a pair of data centers. as well as our super boss. And you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and take on the super boss, because according to the DLC description, we get something really cool for taking him down, if we can. Oh, we're breaking the fourth wall to describe this. Okay. Again, though, we have, like, specific boss missions. That's fine. Oh, I don't care if it's really, really hard. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. We get something for this, and I kind of want it before we beat the game. Now, hold on. We got... Yep. Oh, Lola, are you okay? This is not a standard weapon. Oh, it's draining our health. Oh, it's this guy again? Are you kidding me? Oh, sorry. It's this guy, and he's immune to everything. Or almost everything. What the hell? So, it's not a new boss, it's just this one again. That's extremely disappointing, actually. So it seems like his powers are entirely limited to cursing at us and spamming ultimate attacks nonstop. That's, gonna be honest with you, that's very disappointing. I paid $2 for this? Oh, we do not have a heal, do we? Alright, we do have an ult as well. Are you kidding me? I agree with you, Nugget. Japan, please. Yeah. Kyle says, I bullied him at the level that I was, but he's hard for you. Okay. It's basically permanent Berserk Blade. There's heal upgrades you can buy, but they cost a lot, I think. Gotcha. We started the second game with one, so... Oh, we can, like, assign them control shortcuts. Gotcha. And Nugget says, bro, I can't even tell what's happening on screen. Nor can I. So, tell you what we're gonna do. We are actually going to escape for now, because this is not what I was wanting in my bonus DLC mission. I'm definitely gonna beat it toward the end of the game or after the fact. But if it's just refighting a boss we've already seen, instead of something new and cool, like, say, this art suggests we should. It looks basically like an entirely different character, and that's what they use to promote it. I'm not, like, super motivated to take that on right now. So I guess we'll just carry on. Oh, Nugget says, I thought I'd heard of this game. Turns out one of my best friends plays it. Oh, wonderful. It's really, really good. I decided to try the first one after hearing about the series, but having no idea what it was for some time ago, a couple weeks ago, and I've been having a great time. So we've got, like, a very young prison warden, we've got a robot butler, and then there's one more we haven't seen. That's alright, Kyle. I'll see what we get for beating the... honestly, really disappointing bonus mission, after the fact. So this may be the same, Nugget says I'm vibing with this music. Oh yeah, no, the entire trilogy that I've seen has really, really good music. Cal says I thought it was alright, but I already knew it was Blade. I did not, and I'll say this, having like that as a DLC fight's perfectly fine. Charging me $2 when the game itself, it's about 10% of the value of the game, for a refight of a boss when it seems like, based off of our mission controls description, there's more fights like that already packaged into the game, like as post-game content or whatever. Yeah, that's not worth it. Sorry, it's just not. I'm interested to see who this is going to be, though. This is a radio tower. It might... I don't know, is this the same one from the first game? Oh! Oh, we're going Mega Man 2 with this. Oh, this could get interesting. And by interesting, I mean really chancy. So we are going to avoid using Blade's weapon as much as we can because it actively drains our health. See, the really cool thing about this game is that by dashing into enemies, you can lock onto them and cause all of your attacks, both regular bullets and special attacks, to home in on them. Well, most of the time. There's one special attack, or one special weapon, that causes our mid-air dashes to automatically home in on enemies that are tagged. It tags them automatically and then homes in on them, if that makes sense. Cal says Blade's weapon isn't a weapon. Well, right, no, I just mean I'll avoid using his power-up, I guess, until the time is right. Anything over here? No, I guess not. I was looking for like an emblem fragment maybe, but we can worry about those later. Hey, it's our old friend the missile launcher. Or it was. The series is basically Mega Man Zero on crack. Like, everything moves so much faster. There's constant explosions everywhere. And most sense of like very, very like tense, nail-biting strategy is replaced with just more things exploding and you trying to make their things explode before they make yours explode. Cal says it's basically just a power-up where... Oh! How on earth did that dash miss? Where you get infinite EX gauge and Lola fires whatever weapon you have equipped, and if you aren't doing damage, you lose health. Okay. Nugget asked, for someone looking to get into Mega Man, which game would you recommend starting with? Oof, okay. So... it all depends on what kind of experience you want, and please forgive me as I pause the game for just a moment to elaborate on this. So the classic games, fortunately, you can get basically anything from the original games to ZX, kind of the most recently developed sub-series, in really conveniently curated collections available for most major platforms. Mega Man, like classic Mega Man, has its own. Mega Man X has its own, divided into two on certain platforms, but you can get like all of them together if you want. Or most of them together, we'll get to that in a minute. And Zero and ZX are bundled together. The original Mega Man games are, you know, very well designed, like action platformers for their time, I find, and have some really solid level design. That said, and this may be an unpopular opinion, I find the classic Mega Man series and like the retro titles, so like 9 through 11, that are inspired by like the NES originals, to be just a little too simplistic in both presentation and kind of overall like boss and mechanical design. So much of that has to do with like technical limitations at the time they were designed, and there's still loads of fun to play through, but you don't get, I would find, the full experience and appreciation for the series by playing through one of those, as you would with, say, an installment in the Mega Man X series, released, I believe, originally on PlayStation. Maybe? No, PlayStation Genesis-ish. I'm terrible with release dates. Throughout the 90s. and very early 2000s. 8 titles in that sub-series, offers way more options for customization, hidden collectibles present in the stages, and retains the core gameplay mechanics of the original series while expanding on them in really cool and innovative ways. So instead of boss weaknesses dealing more damage than any other weapon, in the X series, traditionally, using a boss's weakness against them will strip them of certain offensive or defensive capabilities or otherwise severely injure or impair them for the rest of the fight. So using those weaknesses actually has a point beyond making the fight end quicker. It also greatly increases your survivability in the short term. So for an absolute beginner, Kyle says, if I got into Mega Man, I'd probably start with 0 or ZX, then go to X if I wanted to go further. Do not start with ZX. I will say that right off the bat. The ZX games are solid from what little I've played of the first one, but they incorporate like a weird pseudo-open world with stages branching off of it, and like... It's a lot. You kind of want an understanding of the basic gameplay, kind of what this series is all about before you go into those, I would say. Kyle suggests 0 to start out with. That might not be such a bad idea if you get the curated collection that includes 0 and ZX, as those games, especially like the remasters for the collection, are fairly forgiving. They integrate a checkpoint system that wasn't present in the original games, and they give you plenty of opportunities for very well tutorialized character customization and development and things like that. So I would say, Nugget, either start with the Mega Man 0 collection or the Mega Man X collection. Either would be perfectly fine. The original Mega Man you might want to go back to once you have an appreciation, quote-unquote, for the rest of the series, as, like, they're phenomenal games, but, like, especially the first few haven't aged quite as well as, I would argue, the first few X games or the 0 series as a whole. Nugget says, I've literally only played a Mega Man game for 10 minutes and it was a demo, so I have no idea what I'd like. 0 collection or X collection, again, would be probably your safest bets. And they're pretty affordable as well for what they are. And Kyle says the only way I'd have to play the games of the collection, so... yeah, the collections are, by all accounts, really, really good. I own the... Oh! I see. I own the original and 0 collections, but have not played either yet. Okay, so these platforms are gonna be interesting. Hey, wait, what? Oh. Were we out of bullets somehow? Wait, how? No! We weren't out of bullets. Just our dash didn't work for some reason. Is that what these damn things do? They actively prevent my dash from executing. That's new. But, alright, I'll take it. Hey, Sumeragi soldiers. Been a while since we've actually seen their foot troops around. Oh, our score for this stage is gonna be garbage, but that's alright. Nothing down there. Hey, it's the sentry bots again. This game does have, I would say, much more enemy variety than the first game especially, but the second as well. I do appreciate that. There we are. Okay, so what on earth are you supposed to do? Nothing, I guess. Those are very strange platforms. Oh, ambush time. Oh yeah, yeah, this bomb is the truth. Well, our score keeps getting shot to shit, but everything else is fine. There we are. Cal says, off what you said yesterday, your score doesn't become 0 if you die on a stage. I think it's if you beat a stage while Lola's using her Anthem ability, it takes your score away. I see. That makes sense, I suppose. And Nugget says, oh, I thought I might have some of the games because I have the Sega Mega Drive and Classics and Genesis Classics, but it turns out it's not in there. Yeah, I don't think they would be, in part because these, like, collections, curated collections for the Mega Man series, the original Mega Man and X especially, have been like a huge thing in Capcom's library for a long time, so they probably want to keep any and all re-releases strictly in-house. Or I should say the profits from any re-releases strictly in-house. Anything? Nope, that spikes. That's bad. Never mind. So we have no idea what on earth is waiting for us at the end of this stage. I've not seen a boss or any indications that the boss is using their power. Oh wait, we've got the cure for this, don't we? Yeah, there we go. Wait, no, there we go. Well, wherever the... Oh, ouch. Bad timing. Wherever the emblem pieces are hidden in this stage, they're hidden quite well. Not that it matters, we're doing just fine without Lola on the whole. Okay, so it seems like those platforms, other than making us automatically hover for some strange reason, don't do much of anything. Hey, there's one. Ah, there goes our score again. Damn it all. Alright, Nugget, best of luck. Thanks so much for dropping by. Hopefully we see you later. Kyle says, at least Capcom isn't being Konami. They know they have game series people like, and they're actually releasing stuff for them, minus Mega Man, if you want, because they've only made 11 and haven't heard word of a Mega Man 12 or a new X or Zero game. Yeah, no, I would honestly love to see something new in the style of the more recently developed series instead of all the retro throwbacks, but at least they're giving people something, right? Something that people really like, apparently. That's great. And the platforms make you float and automatically refill your bullets. Gotcha. So who's this gonna be? Yeah, it's the Warden. So what on earth does she do? Oh, she's one of their weird mind control muses. Okay. And she dresses the part too. Okay, so she's Isola, right. She looks unsettlingly similar to Zonda's transformed state, or true transformed state. Cal says if you want classic-type platformers, you usually have to go to indie games like Gunvolt or Hat in Time. That's true, there's lots of great stuff coming out of the indie scene, and Hat in Time is actually one of my favorite platformers of all time. Played that for the first time at the end of last year, like around the holiday season. And what a great way to relax around that glorious season and de-stress from the semester, my first semester as a TA. Jeez. Oh, this is gonna be weird. Okay, so that's not your weakness. How do you feel about Orbital Edge? No? Okay, so maybe your weakness is somehow the Berserk state. Okay, so she's really interesting. I really dig her moveset, actually. She's very passive, but sends out a variety of, not even projectiles, but just holograms that dance their way around to attack us. Oh, okay. Now, can we do away with her clones remotely? Oh, she's great. This... Cal says you don't have her weakness. Okay, that's fine. She's not that bad so far. Honestly, this is not what I was expecting from a prison warden. Okay, that wasn't so bad. And down she goes. Nice. So Isola and was it Rebellio, the sheep, the convict sheep? They're easily the best designed bosses in the game thus far, like my favorites, and some of my favorites in the entire series. This game on the whole has really good boss design. I didn't see enough of the Tailor to render a solid opinion of his mechanics, because we destroyed his armor right off the bat. But I'll say so far the weakest fight for me is probably Blade. I mean, he's fine, I just find compared to, say, a giant sheep trying to beat me to death with a spiked ball of yarn, or a pop idol, like prison guard, using wonderful electric light shows to, like, crowd control us. His fight seems a little bland. Like, I mean, mechanically it's fine, but just, you know, nothing you haven't seen elsewhere. Yeah, there we go. Cal says Rebellio's probably the easiest boss, or the one you can work around his attacks the easiest. I would say that may only be true for players who are familiar with the way Copen plays. We got the Heaven's Concert Stage trophy, by the way. Players who are familiar with Copen's playstyle from the first game, or the second game, if you were going into this as like your first experience with this character, I would argue he might actually give you a harder time than the Tailor did, even like with his armor. The CEO was easily the hardest out of the first three bosses, or proper bosses. Oh, so they're building some kind, or they have some kind of super weapon. I'm interested in seeing who, like, our final boss or final bosses are going to be. Cal says, I meant more like if you sat down and learned every boss, he's the easiest. If you know how this game works based off of 2, then everything's easier anyway. Fair point, fair point. Alright, can we afford anything good? Overdrive, guard up. Yeah, the OD upgrades aren't gonna matter to us quite as much as anything else. Oh, that'd be really good. Yeah. Yeah, let's save up for that EX Saber if we can. And now we can take on the data center stages. This one might be the butler, I'm guessing? Which, by the way, how the hell does that work? If the adepts are effectively superhumans, more or less born with their power, and they just need, like, some kind of assistance to channel it, how does an artificial human, so like an android in this case, control a Septima? I know that the CEO said he's like the most realistic android ever developed, so maybe he could be trained in the use of either a real Septima or given a, like, believable approximation of one. Like, he's got powerful enough weapons, or some kind of Septima-powered, like, core or something like that, that allows him to manifest similar abilities, if that makes sense. We shall see. Speaking of, first things first, we shall see our new weapon. Cal says the Sumeragi adepts might not be true ones, because, like, Gunvolt doesn't need a dagger or quill to activate, he's just active. Well, that's not entirely true. If you recall, at the start of the second game, when Eden's Guardians were discussing, like, Sumeragi's glaives, I think they called them, like the giant greatswords they use to channel their power, they said just as much. Like, all of these adepts are naturally powerful, they have certain affinities and abilities. And the Sumeragi designed contraptions, the glaives in the first game, the quills here, or the grimoires that Zonda gave her guardians in the second game, allow adepts to channel their power or their Septima and greatly enhance them for a temporary, like, or a short duration, like for a small span of time. So it's kind of for them like entering an Anthem state would be for either of our player characters, if that makes sense. And they're just constantly, or for their boss fight, they're constantly in that upgraded state. That's the way I read it, anyway. So the Muse's Kiss, what does this do? Oh, it's a projectile, very nice. Hey, it's these guys again. So it's like a semi-auto standard projectile? That could be useful. Cal says it's a charge weapon, I think, like the crystal. Maybe? No, I can't appear to charge it down. It doesn't deal more damage if it's cooked for a certain amount of time. Ooh. Oh wait, no, that time it did something. Maybe, hold on. We got it to unleash a different projectile before, somehow. There it is. Hold on, I'm trying to figure out how this works. Oh, I see. It is a charge weapon, but the charge will consume its entire gauge. Yeah, you do need all of its energy. Okay. How on earth do we destroy you? Wait a minute. No? Alright. Thought we just might have a way to get around that, but no dice. That's fine. Yeah, there we go. Are we gonna... There we go. This is the way forward, which means we may have missed something over there. Well, maybe, maybe not. Nope. There actually was nothing in that hallway. Okay, we may have something that shuts this down. Oh well, we'll just use our pervasion, screw it. Stellar Spark, maybe? I'm just curious to see if anything we have can affect this, and no, it cannot. So there goes our score. Whatever. I think I'll actually stick with the detonator for now, because outside of single enemy situations, it seems a little more useful than the Muse's Kiss. Alright, another security room, is it? Yep. And no shortcut out of this one. Well, luckily, we've got probably the best weapon in the game for these kind of scenarios right here. Oh, there went all our score. Damn it, damn it, damn it. I just cannot keep kudos in this game. Much easier in the other two to avoid taking any kind of hits at all. I mean, still, we're not actually taking damage from most of those hits, but it's the principle of the thing. Halfway, I believe. Oh, that was a bottomless pit. Of course it was. Hey, MC, how's it going? Hope you've had a good day so far, man. We're on our way to fight probably the robot butler from the first stream. Just finished co-op Deep Rock Galactic. Right on, man. You guys still having fun with it, I guess. Had some stressful missions. How many missions? How long does an average mission take in that game? $10 to 30 minutes? Oh, that's not bad. That's pretty average for, like, multiplayer co-op games like that, I think, right? less if you die early, which obviously is never the goal. Copen's even stronger in this one. Well, with this particular weapon he is, anyway. MC says, I have 105 hours on the game and far from getting everything. Wow, that does sound like you get quite a lot of content for your investment. This is reminding me of the end game of Super Mario World. Oh, there's a game I haven't played since I was very, very young. But I think it was one of the final castles in that game, if not the final castle, had a very stressful and lengthy platform riding segment just like that one. MC says I could play that game for the rest of my life, honestly. Well, good. I'm glad you've got stuff that continues to feel that fresh and rewarding, you know, hours and hours in. Very rare, in my opinion, to find games like that. Especially if you're like me and prefer, like, story-driven, like, pseudo-RPG experiences. Or games like this. Don't know that I've ever played a game like that that's very, like, multiplayer or co-op oriented. The closest I've come is, like, co-oping Dark Souls and Neo with friends. Oh no, this is the one guy we haven't seen yet. DRG doesn't have much in terms of story. A lot of those, like, co-op based games, that, Left 4 Dead, Vermintide, really don't. It's more about just spending time with and bonding with your friends. Okay, so what on earth do you do? So he's their underworld connection. Cal says I like this guy, but I don't know if I like the fight. Well, we'll see. The last fight was probably my favorite one in the entire game so far, so... So he's some kind of Yakuza, probably? Or at least in the original game he was. And again, it sounds like he's kind of being coerced into fighting us. Well, that is a mental image. Right, what do you do? Oh, this is interesting. With the cord running around his back in that very specific pattern, he looks similar to the way certain figures are depicted in, like, I want to say, is it like Shinto cosmology? Like Japanese religious art? Right, well, what do you do? You wouldn't happen to be weak to bombs, would you, good sir? No, you're too tough for that. Oh, wait, I get it. You have a soft spot for idols, don't you? No, he doesn't. Oh, I like this guy. I mean, he's hard as hell, but I like him. Oh, hey, somebody doesn't like electricity very much. It doesn't seem to be his weakness, but hey. It's doing really decent damage still. he's actually using slightly modified versions of moves from other bosses in the series, like Desna and Tianjin slams, and I think like Viper's wall kicks. Oh jeez. Oh, how the hell? Well, we got him. MC says I've yet to find someone not weak to my humor. Fair dues. We had a really good run with the boss weaknesses in the first half of the game. And Kyle says this guy's another fight where if you have his weakness, you don't get to fight him, he just crumbles. Don't have a problem with that, as that is a Mega Man tradition. So he has to be weak to the butler's weapon. And the idol weak to his weapon, I would imagine. Yeah, that was okay. As usual, in this game in particular, his ult was a little overpowered, I felt like. But, solid fight otherwise. Right. Hello, support character that makes me terribly uncomfortable. Still nowhere near earning the upgrades I want. So we'll head off to the newer data center, I suppose, to take on our final, like, main, or Falcon, I think they call them, the robot butler, whose boss we killed quite early on in the game. I am very glad to see that Copen, even though there's no real explanation for it in the story thus far, Copen isn't just a horrible asshole anymore. He's a nuanced asshole now. And she says I had an uncomfortable week looking for an image for a character for your role-playing sessions. Alright, final main stage. I will say, compared to the Mega Man Zero and ZX games, like, my one complaint about the series as a whole, like kind of my biggest complaint really, coming off of Zero and ZX, again games I loved when I was younger, is these games have significantly less content than those did. Like, much, much less. In terms of stages, not necessarily weapons, they do really good with weapon variety in Copen's gameplay at least. Bosses, all of that. Like, the first Mega Man Zero game had roughly twice as much content, twice as many stages and bosses and all that, as the Gunvolt games do, and future Zero games only expanded upon that. I think the third might have been the longest and biggest overall, and all of that content, for the most part, the bosses, the stages, mini-bosses, enemy variety, all that, really great, very high quality. This feels like, again, we have a great deal of high-quality content, or we have a solid amount of high-quality content, but nowhere near as much as, like, earlier projects from some of the same developers brought to the table. That's my one really central, persistent complaint with the series, and I'm hoping it might be addressed in the third game. Cal says Gunvolt's guns have variety, but most people don't like half of them generally, probably like Mizuchi. Well, no, for me, it's the same weapon by and large, by default, same damage output, all that, just with different firing patterns. Typically, in other games, like the Mega Man series, the Zero series actually being the principal exception, you got totally different, like, tools every time you kill a boss. In that series, most of the time when you killed bosses, you would get, like, either special cyber elves that would give you new abilities, like just traversal abilities and the like, or you would get elemental chips you could input into the 3 or 4 weapons you carry through the entire game to switch up the damage type you do and like the damage you deal to certain bosses and the like. And Kyle also says, the hint to that is he stays with the kids even though he gave his own reason, so it was he could look after them. Yeah, I know. He's, again, being presented as more nuanced. Still don't have a really good reason as to why. I just appreciate that it's there. I appreciate we're not playing as a horrible character, or having to anymore. And MC says wolf folk are not a good topic to research for images. I can imagine they're not. Speaking of wolf folk, we will start playing Bloodborne in just a day or two, and get ready to see plenty of lycanthropes in that game. Okay, so the Cyclone, what do we have? Oh! Okay, so it also lifts us up just a little. That's nice, I suppose. It's basically Aquaman's signature attack from the second game. Doesn't seem to be quite as good for combat as a lot of our other weapons, but it might have some real utility for, like, traversal, getting around and the like. So, the first data center was, like, ruined and dilapidated. This one appears largely to still be in use. MC says, I've seen a lot of Bloodborne, speedruns and the like. Oh, I gotcha. So it won't be... Oh, that means you're probably already aware of the really big, like, plot twist halfway through. That's a shame. I was hoping to get some live reactions to that. But we will still have a whole lot of fun with that, especially since like Dark Souls 1, I've never played the DLC for Bloodborne before, and will be doing so my first time on stream. Now, I have seen a friend play through it. And holy crap, does it look really good, but really hard. Oh, you... That is so sneaky, I love it. There we go. Cal says, I've played Bloodborne. If I play a Souls game again, it would probably be Dark Souls 1. Souls 1's a great deal of fun. The second is actually my favorite. And MC says, I dig the music. Yeah, no, it's really good. This entire trilogy has great music. I don't know, there's a better way of dealing with you. Yeah, there we go. Holy hell, that thing is strong. Cal says, oh yeah, the spiral weapon is the Gravity Girl's second weakness. I wasn't gonna say till I got it. I got you. It's also, I would imagine, the J-pop idol's weakness, the Warden's weakness. It also appears to be probably the strongest weapon in terms of base damage output, like far and away. It or the detonator. Detonator probably, if all of its attacks actually land. It is her weakness. Yeah, I would imagine so. We've been getting some really good combos in this playthrough. Love the level design here. Very colorful, very lively. It's a great contrast to the dilapidated data center from the last stage. Or the disused data center, I suppose I should say. Alright, halfway there. Cal says you might have a hard time with this boss, but we'll see. Well, I do have his weakness mind. So these turrets are on a time delay like Teseo's bombs. Good to see Sumeragi's foot soldiers still trying to hold it down. Operant word trying. Ooh, it's a great deal of cash. Very, very nice. Cal says there's an Easter egg somewhere in this level. If you electrocute screens, it'll show Jewel and Lola on them. Oh, that's nice. Yeah, could have prevented that. There we go. Oh, that was close. Hey, not bad. We actually kept all that score. That's amazing. Oh yes, yes, please, Kyle, join our Discord if you're so inclined. Pretty sure we mentioned that on stream before, MC, I think. I make a habit of doing it at the conclusion of most every stream now, so probably. And here we are, boss time. Let's go ahead and equip the Muse's Kiss. It's the resident charge weapon, so I may or may not do too well with it. Alright, here it comes. Yep. Oh man, this writing is... I'll be diplomatic and say very not good. Like, I'll be honest, this is not a story-based series, it's all about spectacle and, like, cool level designs and boss designs and really kinetic action. It feels great in your hands. That's great. The story, and especially characterization across the board, is kind of awful, with really rare exception. But that's fine. It's not the focus of the game, so... you can get a laugh out of it, I mean... So what do you do? Oh, wow, that is impressive. He's a fencer. No, no, with the cloth, he's a matador. Oh, he's a matador with bull's horns and a laser sword. Oh my god, this is awesome. Okay. Oh, I can't target you, can? Or I can't as long as the cloak is around your shoulders. Phase 2, let's do it. Okay, so there's no way I can make this go any faster. Okay, so his weakness does deal damage to him, but just not very much. Okay, this is interesting. Does a decent job of working around our lock-on ability. He's just also not throwing out much I can't evade myself. Alright, this is gonna be interesting. What's your special? Okay. Oh, of course. So this game in particular is very fond of Tianjin-style ults, where there's a number of kind of difficult to avoid attacks spanning the screen, and if you get hit by one of them, you just get unloaded on. I don't like that. I do not like that being a common feature of boss design. One or two bosses having that, like, say, the final boss in the first game, yeah, that's totally fine. Oh, there he goes. Cal says the game's cliche on purpose, I think. I honestly don't know if it's that or just kind of poor translation. I really don't know. NMC says, interesting, you described Deep Rock Galactic except for the characterization. NGG, thank you very much. And did I hear about the Steam release of Phantasy Star Online 2? No, I didn't. I knew quite, or I read quite a bit about the first one back when it came out. When, damn, I was still very young. But I've heard next to nothing about the second, much less that it was actually getting released. That's interesting. It's actually really cool. I hope it does well. So that's all of our Falcons down. Can't wait to see them again in the end game. Oh, and a fresh upgrade will be done as well. That's awesome. Phantasy Star in general needs a little more love from the world, I think. We got the Hidden World trophy. MC says I played a little bit of the PSO a long time ago. The general consensus seems to be, for the time it was created as like a console-based MMO, Phantasy Star Online was pretty solid. And I played through all the base games. I played a bit of one of them, but I've like read screenshot LPs of several of them, and they sound really good. Oh wow, MC says Phantasy Star 4 is my first RPG. Oh, Kyle says this guy's weakness wasn't the Muse's weapon, it was Rebellio's. Okay, that's fine. Oh, that's interesting. Kinda doofy, but interesting. So they're like airdropping an entire armored division into this slum. MC says Thomas the Doom Train. Funny story, that. Are you guys familiar with a Suda51 game called Killer is Dead? If so, if not, that's something we're definitely playing on stream at some point. And Kyle says that when he was throwing you back, when you dash into him, you could have just, like, cut through it with, the red anchor. I gotcha. MC says never heard of it. Well, all you need to know is it is a game based around, a series of assassination missions where each of the bosses is a very, very stylistically distinct, like, superhuman. And I think the last boss that has no real relevance to the main plot, like, obviously there's a couple quote-unquote final bosses, the last one is actually Thomas the Tank Engine, who, after being disused and slated for, effective decommissioning, like being scrapped, and left to abandon in, like, a remote Siberian rail yard, forms his own, like, consciousness and soul, and starts rampaging across the Trans-Siberian Railway, like, weaponizing various, like, components of his construction to destroy other locomotives. There is a really complex multi-stage boss fight against Thomas the Tank Engine. Or, sorry, Tommy the Tank Engine. Kyle says airdropping a robot armada to kill a bunch of kids. Well, that sounds like Sumeragi, from what we've seen. Oh, and in Killer is Dead, Thomas the Tank Engine speaks in a very dignified, like, resonant, gentlemanly, like, RP baritone. It's incredible. It's a very, like... It's a hard game to recommend as a whole, but, like, from a presentation standpoint, it is incredible. MC says, I mean, I heard of that boss fight. Yeah, no, you've probably heard of the Tommy the Tank Engine boss fight. It's... Oh, MC says, now I have a game to buy. I'd say hold off on that, at least until you see a little bit more of it. It's... Depending on the price, it might be a little bit hard to recommend, because it is pretty short. The first proper boss is like Alice from Alice in Wonderland, but like possessed by a parasite from the moon that slowly breaks out of her throughout the fight. Okay, so this time we are moving in the opposite direction to take on Sumeragi's robot fleet. Right? Are you kidding me? Oh, I love it. So now we have to track down this actual AI like Demerzel in its central location and destroy it, I would imagine. And he says, nah, style is my jam. I feel that. So it's going to use the techniques of all of the other bosses present in the game, right? Very watered down versions of each, anyway. Oh, and I can't lock onto you, can I? No, I can't. Oh no, we can lock onto the jewel, but only the jewel. This is going to be the idol, kind of. Holy hell, this thing has a lot of health. And now the butler. So this is basically Zonda if she were, or if they were a tank. Well, now that we've destroyed the jewel, what next? Oh my god. Whose power is that? Our... Hold on. How do you feel about explosions? Yeah, that's this thing's weakness. Unsurprising, but there it goes. MC says, Kyle, when the kids kick your ass, you bring back something stronger. Well, looks like they're gonna need something stronger yet. What the? Oh, that's Rebellio's move, isn't it? Or ours. No, it had a lock on us. Goodbye, dumpy tank. You'll be missed. That was a pretty cool boss fight, all told. Looks like it'd be one of the easier ones to learn how to dodge all of the maneuvers present in. Are we taking on Sumeragi headquarters now? Finally? And this is technically Lola's stage, I guess. Wow, all that and still just to be. Yeah, the grading in this game is much harsher than in the previous two. Previous games, it was not hard to... Oh, we got the Attack of the Giga Lola trophy. Yep, so that's our boss, Demerzel. Hold on, I'm curious, does that name have some kind of, like, significance? Apparently it's a character from an Isaac Asimov, novel, Eto Demerzel. So, yeah, there's a solid connection there. And MC says earlier in DRG we encountered a Glyphid menace. Glyphids are the bugs of the world, so kind of, I'm thinking like a standard Zerg-type menace. And after killing it solo, good for you, I say, who's the menace now? Not a strong monster, but a bit annoying. I see. I've always been fond of the insectoid alien trope, but only when the aliens have, like, their own, like, society and technology and all that, and aren't just like a mindless, ravening horde. I'm thinking, what's a great example of, like, what I'm specifically talking about? Oh, geez, sorry, my mind's blanking totally. I guess a solid approximation of what I'm thinking of would be, say, the collectors from Mass Effect 2. MC says they are a mindless horde, but they work in groups to take you out. So they're controlled by a hive mind somewhere. You have to adapt a lot. A lot of those, like, co-op games, the ones I'm thinking of, where you're fighting, like, hordes of enemies, have a similar, like, sort of hive mind enemy AI mechanic, like, directors in, or the director in Left 4 Dead 2, I think, or, just naturally integrated tactics into enemy hordes in the Vermintide games, which I've heard are very, very good, for the record. Wait, hold on a minute. As it happens, our final area, like the Sumeragi HQ we're going to be breaking into, is a place we've already infiltrated and, like, defeated a boss in earlier, and we somehow didn't know that this massive AI that was controlling an entire armored division by itself was in there? Like, we and our super advanced computerized sidekick didn't pick up anything of that nature there. Okay. MC says, but then you have the Exploder. Oh god, the Exploder. Basically the game wanting to kill you. Again, sounds, at least the enemies sound very similar to, like, archetypes popularized by, say, Left 4 Dead. See, Copen had such great support characters in the second game. Like, totally averted the problems we had with Gunvolt, but now they had to go and make it creepy again. They just had to. MC says they are archetypical, but you fight in an enclosed space almost all the time. Well, my limited experience with Destiny will attest that close quarters fighting against, like, hordes of enemies in, like, a shooter is really exhilarating and tough, and MC says you have to mine to resupply. Nice.
敵の新兵器を撃退したおかげでここは一か八かの賭けに出るべき時なのでしょう。
そうだよ、みんなで戦おう。じっとしていて手に入る未来なんてない。もう誰かに全部押し付けて安全な場所に引きこもるのはみんな。
危険を感じたらすぐに逃げるんだぞ。
そうだ、アキラくん、これ持って行って。
Oh, it's a pendant. Not unlike the one Gunvolt wore or could wear in the conclusion of the first game.
きっとアキラくんを守ってくれると思う。
分かった。ありがたく借りていこう。
アキラくん、絶対に。
Notice how, again, Copen's characterization here, whether he's interacting with the kids or the adepts or Lola, is totally different in this one. It's better. It's much, much better. But, we just have a complete, like, character shift from the second game to this one. Again, not gonna complain, though, because it is for the better. Alright. Hold on. Can we afford anything good yet? Another bullet, if we wanted. Nah. Well, actually, might not be that bad. Do we want to save up for the EX saver? Or the we'll just go ahead through the end game like this for now. So now we're taking on the Sumeragi secret bunkers, and it looks like there's going to be maybe 3 more stages.
兄貴、お取り役は任せてくれ。私たちだってこんな時ぐらい役に立ってみせるよ。
僕たちが敵の注意を引きつけている隙に X さんはビル内部に
So my question is there going to be like a secret, like, post-game final stage we only unlock by, say, collecting all of the emblem fragments?
だが無茶はするなよ。俺が潜入したらすぐに逃げるんだ。いい。
当然なのです。誰が X のために死んでやるもんかです。全部終わったらたっぷりお礼してもらうんですから。
MC says, I want to say DRG throws some unique enemies at you that grab you and carry you away to try to isolate you. Oh, nice. That sounds especially disruptive for like a multiplayer kind of squad-based game. And the enemies can climb on the ceiling and walls. Oh. Righteous, actually. And Kyle says, I don't think there's a stage like that. Alright. Good to know. So it's time to take on the Sumeragi AI. Going to be very interested to see how it elects to fight us.
表でみんながドンパチやってくれたおかげで無事再潜入できたね。みんな無事だといいけど。
今はあいつらを信じよう。俺たちは一刻も早くスメラギの管理 AI レマーゼルを破壊するんだ。それにバタフライエフェクト。はい。
MC says ceiling spitters can take you down if you leave them be. And Kyle says if you finish the game today, you'll probably be blown away or confused. I have been alternating between both states throughout my experience with the entire series thus far, so doesn't sound too off-brand. Okay, so we want to get up there if we can. Hold on. No. Gotta be a way around those, right? Maybe later. There's probably a fragment up there, but it's fine. It's fine. We're almost there. And I'm really interested to see what the actual endgame stages have to throw at us. Oh, hey, it's the sorcerers again. Been ages since we've seen them, since the first set of stages. Oh, hello, emblem fragment. One moment. Ow. My bad. Alright, what disables you? I'm curious. Not the cyclone. The spear. Oh, yeah, it is. Wraps him right on up. Very nice. How does this thing do in combat, by the way? Oh, it doesn't. It just temporarily disposes of enemies. Okay. That's very interesting, then. Come on. What you got? That's very handy, actually. Love my detonators, though. So handy. So handy. Take that score, thank you very much. And I'll take whatever's in here. Probably just health or something, but hey. Can't hurt. I think Copen's somehow, like, his arsenal is somehow even stronger in this game than in the second. Took a little while for us to get there, but once we unlocked a couple of those early game weapons, man, game over. If something's gonna beat this build, it's not gonna be in more or less even combat. Shields are more like a polite deterrent to the photon detonator. Alright. Oh, elevator time. We're going to be refighting some bosses. We're going to be refighting the angel? Oh no, we're going down instead of up to the CEO's boss arena. Oh, this is nice. It's like a gigantic server farm. Or looks like a futuristic server farm. Oh, what the hell are these? Better question. Do they explode? Oh, damn it. Ooh. Oh, that can be potentially nasty. We're doing okay for the most part. Oh, there we go. Hey, 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 hey. What's over here? Lots of money, that's the answer. I'll take it. Oh, it's these guys again. Long time no see. Looks like we're going to be facing just about every enemy type from the entire game in these stages, which is nice. Good opportunity to break out some of the enemies we haven't seen in quite a while, or who were particular to very early stages. Oh no, that one activated, damn it. Hold on though, we may have a way around that. Well, not that, because we're just guaranteed to be hit there, but maybe I could hit those suckers with the Shroud Spear to blind them temporarily. It's an interesting weapon, but I do really prefer destroying enemies for the score and the like. Cal says if you go off screen, they'll shut off. Okay, it's good to know, I suppose. I also seriously doubt we'll be seeing too many more of them, though. Oh, it's these things again. Right. No, hold on, there was something down here. If you please. Damn it. I got them all, but... Cal says they weren't around that much when you first saw them. You didn't understand they were basically just searchlight turrets. Yeah, it took me a while to recognize that. So we did get... Oh, I know I ran out of bullets, yes. Looks like we probably needed to approach that from the other direction. Doesn't retain its record of us getting the last emblem piece, which is frustrating, but we can get it again if we really want to. Question is, do we really want to? I mean, sure, why not? Oh no. No, there's no way to this save through, Yeah, that is not worth it right now. We know where it is, that's important enough. Oop. Alright, so what's our boss going to be? Oh, right, you. So he's just been like this since we handed his ass to him back at the medical center, huh? Right, so this is their super weapon at work. Cal says, imagine if you could die because you activated the hexafile and went over a cliff. In some games, like level end checkpoints are a little wonky like that. Glad to see this game is not one of those. There we go. Yep, we're dead. So, I have no problem with his fight as such, but I do really hate that they kind of went with the least original of their wonderful, like, selection of bosses to be the recurring, like, kind of rival character that we fight way more often than anyone else. Like he's just a swordsman. That's it. God damn. MC says, I feel there's a plot reveal waiting to happen. Oh, no. We know exactly what's going on. The AI is controlling him. He's not in control of his own mind or his own body. He's just one of their enforcers, and the first one we've seen to go completely mad as a result of Sumeragi's interference. He's not going to be the last, though. Cal says, I'm pretty sure you'll see the reason once you get there. I mean, I just have this thing where... The hell? I really dislike most, and this goes with a lot of anime-influenced shows and titles and things like that, this weird preference for having characters with the most generic, or I should say, standard powers always be the forefront. or always be the most commonly recurring. Like, compared to the other bosses, this guy's kinda plain. And so far, I've counted available in the game 4 different fights against him, 3 of which are mandatory. The hell? Every time. Kyle says, because electricity in this game ignores your pervasion. Yeah, I'm figuring that out. Like, nothing else in the game was really remotely difficult, save the CEO's boss fight. Now that I think about it, she also had attacks that ignore pervasion, but that's because she had something that was just short of a one-hit kill. Alright. Time for perhaps the most poorly translated alt name in the entire series. At the least, it's not that hard to dodge, I guess. And there he goes. Please tell me that's it for him. Cal says outside of Gravity Girl, no one ignores your pervasion except for Blade. Yeah, not so far anyway. Oh, I was right. Blade is female. Yeah, they're leaning really hard into cliches. For a game that, this is really weird, right? Like, for Gunvolt, at least. For a game that seems to be based largely around, like, audiovisual style and really flashy presentation and solid mechanics, and seems to be going for something just short of an excuse plot, they really try to put that plot front and center, like, above and beyond what most of the Zero games did, honestly. Kyle says, once Kawaku told me, I was like, God damn it, I know where this is going. Well, so that's the weird thing. I could tell right off the bat that this character was female, or at least I thought they were. But, like, when they used exclusively male pronouns for them, I thought, oh, okay, maybe this is just more of the game's kind of unusual character design, I'll just go with it. So this is, again, yeah, something we didn't see. Copen is actually sparing one of the adepts, which is something we would never see at all based on his characterization in the first 2 games. So you could say he's changed, but again, I think the likelier explanation is kind of like with Zonda's characterization between the first and second games. The design team just kind of abruptly decided to go in a direction that makes the characters more palatable or suit their purposes a bit better, which is just fine, I think. Yeah, it's a plot hole, more or less, one gigantic plot hole, but it's fine. Alright, so hopefully she's finally done. And we can take on Demoiselle. How much cash did we get out of that? Not quite enough again. MC says, yeah, maybe they try to go into another theme but fail at doing so. They don't exactly fail, it's just kind of abrupt. This still, by and large, feels better than the first couple games. And Kyle says Copen's grown between the years between X2 and here. That seems to be the only real assumption we can make, yeah. So, no emblem fragments here. This might just be our boss rush stage. MC says Copen sees the sister's relation and thinks of his sister. Yeah, that's probably what they're going for. So Demoiselle is probably going to bring back the other 6 bosses, or, like, create replicas of them. And then we're going to have to fight it itself somehow. Let's do it. So we have a good chance at setting most of Sumeragi's adepts free at the end of this. Yeah, MC says time to save the world. Hopefully. Let's do it. Yep. Here's one of my favorite bosses, visually my favorite boss in the entire series. It's what's left of Rebellio. Cal says save the world until Gunvolt 3. Yeah, but hopefully the new threat in that one is entirely unrelated to these, or largely unrelated. This feels like a natural conclusion to Sumeragi's whole story arc. MC says a few hours ago they were raiding a supermarket to feed themselves. Yeah, that's true. And killing this guy in the course, for the record. Okay, what are you weak to? Orbital Edge, maybe? No. Sorry. You're weak to the Warden's weapon, which makes sense. Nope. Right? MC says, nah, Gunvolt 3 is about saving the world from GV by playing as Copen. Oh, I wish. Oh, I wish. Okay, that's not your weakness. You like cloth? You like a lot of cloth? No, not at all. Oh, this feels like Mega Man now. Furiously cycling through all your weapons to determine what the boss weakness is. If you can clip him with it, I mean, damn. Okay. Are you weak to explosions? Hot damn, you are. Like all of God's children. So now he's going from easy to effortless. That's change you can believe in. Alright, here he comes. His ult is not bad to dodge at all, very clearly telegraphed. And for one of those, like, I'm sure one hit equals, say, 2/3 of your health bar in damage type ults, it's about as fair as they get. Alright, down he goes. MC says he kind of has cheap tricks. He was meant to be, like, the first, or one of the first bosses you fight, so... Yeah, I actually really like his design, and the design of his encounter. Oh no! Oh no, it's you! So you're not mad about the fact that I destroyed your greatest work and closest friend, right? Right? Of course you're not. You don't and can't feel anything anymore. Oh. Hell is this? There we go. What's your ult again? Oh right, you try to lock me up or seal me inside cubes of junk. Ow. Oh right, and you're the only one who can totally get around my field. Cal says that was her second attack that ignores prevasion. They sure do put a lot of those in this game, don't they? Oh, but fortunately we do seem to hit a checkpoint after every boss, so we're good. I anticipate this boss rush will get a lot easier after her. Well, I take that... I should clarify. It's not that several of her attacks ignore prevasion, which they do. It's that plenty of them also completely drain your bullets. So, like, our standard strategies don't work at all against this one. Oh god, here it comes. No, 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 no. There we go. Was I somehow not hitting her with the drill, or did I not have it active? That's a shame. Okay. Good. Oh, Christ, not again. Jesus, again? Well, we're dead. There's a... Well, no, I should say the two types of attacks that this game seems to be relatively fond of compared to the others is attacks that ignore prevasion on the one hand, and then ults that just try to clamp you down so the boss can unleash one attack that drains 2/3 of your health on the other. This isn't a poorly designed fight or anything like that, it's just quite hard compared to most of the others in the game. And oddly enough, it was one of the game's first boss fights. Well, no, I'm sorry, I think Mega Man 02, I want to say it was 2, had a pretty similar fight. There was this, ostensibly Phoenix-based boss that looked kind of like a rooster to me, that you fight quite early on in the game that is really hard before you learn it. No, no, oh, shit! Will this buy us a little time? Yes, it will! Alright, MC and I totally missed your pun. I'm sorry, man. Why is this so much harder now? Does she deal more damage, or what am I doing wrong? Well, here's an idea. Let's not use her weakness, because that puts us in a very unfortunate spot. Let's instead use my favorite weapon, which will deal plenty of damage while still allowing us to move around freely. Come on, get those bullets back. There you go. That's more like it. Yeah, okay, so as long as we totally ignore her weakness, or at least the one we know of, and stay well out of harm's way, we might be able to have a decent run here. Yeah, here it comes. And we can actually dodge it this time, because we're not going to be dashing straight into her, hopefully. And it's probably best to stay off the offensive for a little while here. Specifically because she takes, like, no damage here. There you go, there you go. That got her. Oh. I don't know that she used that attack at all in my first fight against her. There we go. Goodbye. Next up will be the Tailor, and well, we know how to deal with him, don't we? Whew-wee. This game's certainly the first one in the trilogy to challenge me quite like this. Aside from, like, the broken pendant or the pendant-based, Nova fight in the first game. That was really tricky, but it was also like a special challenge. MC says time to tailor his fight. Oh, believe you me, man, he's going down quick. Yeah, sure. Tire yourself out, buddy. Now, isn't that a serious shift in difficulty from one boss to the next? We go from one whose weakness actually, I would argue, makes her fight much harder, to one that trivializes their fight. Nice. Okay, so the idol should be next. Meaning, The Cyclone will also allow us to damage her really easily when she's, airborne. Not that she was that hard to begin with. She was actually one of the easier fights, although certainly one of the cooler fights, in my opinion, without her weakness. No? What? Okay, so his sister has been turned into a giant cybernetic brain. Oh dear. Looks very cool. But this obviously isn't our final fight because we've still yet to fight the other bosses. So she's like the most powerful of these Muse-type Septima. That was actually a plot point in the second game. Cal says the confusion begins. It's, look, I can't really say I'm going to be confused here, if only because I've just been passively accepting whatever this series plot wants to put before me, because I'm trying to comprehend all the plot holes and all that. MC says I blame GV for this. Well, depending on how you read the end of the second game, we can. Please kill me. Oh, that's fun. That's what I want in my Mega Man. Okay. Let's do it. Sorry, kiddo. Really I am. So we have to bring down her shield. Oh, and she's fighting us with a Jewel. We want to attack the brain, target the brain. Right? No? Oh yeah, we can tag the brain, there we go. MC says, this is anime, moves on. Yeah, that's basically, I'm sorry if it's not been as engaging as a lot of my commentaries may have been, but that's been my response to this game's entire plot by default. So, this phase of the fight isn't too bad. Not bad at all, actually. This and the fact that we haven't seen our other bosses tells me that this obviously isn't our final fight or even the final stage. Oh, hold on. There we go. So we've destroyed our little sister's gigantic psychokinetic brain monster. Yay! I mean, that was a cool fight. I mean, pretty simple and easy compared to what we had to go through to get to it, but solid. Mechanically interesting. Thank you. Right, okay. Ew. Yay, mission clear! And our end mission art is Lola. Like a dark Lola, though. We got the butterfly effect trophy, but we're not done. We've got more bosses to fight, and still Demoiselle. Oh, damn, I missed the briefing. I'm sorry about that, guys. But, so I guess Jewel just appeared there? She was just there? No real or extensive plot relevance? Okay. Yeah, sure. Cal says darkness trigger. Yeah, maybe we're going to get to use that at some point? Yeah, here she is! Right on. So it's time to fight the second set of 3 bosses. Thankfully, it does look like, I'm hoping and praying, Blade is done. She's decommissioned off the board. Oh yeah, that's her weakness, alright. Yep, here's her stage. That we can still wash away pretty easily. Nope. Oh, we can disperse the clones, though. That's very good to know. I don't think we ever learned that definitively in the first fight. Wow, we killed her before she could even activate her ult. Or actually execute it. Nice. So Demoiselle's down to its last 2 puppets. Starting with the mob boss, I think, who we want to wrap up in the Shroud Spear, right? Oh, his design's so cool. Yep. And it looks like not only does the spear actually damage him, it completely incapacitates him. Alright, phase 2. Problem is the Shroud Spear drains its bar like you wouldn't believe. Alright, ult time. Oh, look at how much of his health we're draining now. Goodbye. That's another one that didn't get to, like, unleash their ult. So we're down to... Nope, we want Anchor Nexus. We're down to the Butler. Kyle asked, what is a boss fight in this game? Well, it appears like... Well, I wouldn't ask what's a boss fight in this game, I would ask what does a boss weakness actually do, because we've seen there's a couple whose weaknesses either don't do much to them or actively make their fight harder, either to read, like Blades, or even to maneuver around and survive, like the Angels, or the CEOs, I should say. But then there's, like, these guys' boss fights where their weakness, in traditional Mega Man fashion, completely trivializes them. Rebellio's weapon also has an infinite charge, I believe. Or near infinite. Yeah, y'all remember this boss fight? Not like this, you don't. MC says the boss fighting is Copen. It really is. Like, this is exactly how I would expect Copen to perform against these guys. Just no-sell everything. Well, there they go. And as he's dying, just how his creator called his name, he's saying something along the lines of "my lady," I think. So, I do feel bad for most of these bosses. I don't think any of them, aside from the idol and the chef, are fighting us willingly. So again, the bosses even are really sympathetic here. I think my least favorite characters in the entire game might be the kids that Copen's helping out. Alright, the only opponent left is Demoiselle. Oh, hold on. Let me get ready. Oh, sorry, take that back. MC says that kid is the true final boss. Oh, if only. Like, you fight all four of them. Turns out they're, like, distinct bodies controlled by the AI, and you have to fight them all at once. Are you kidding me? Really? This guy again? Cal says we might be here a while. Yeah, he was really hard in the first game, so... Oh, and thanks to his Septima, he can also counteract, or like totally circumvent Pervasion, can't he? Yeah, I'm not surprised by this. Again, like, it's just, like MC said, this is anime. Accept it and move on. Yeah, this makes no sense at all. No, sorry, this makes absolute... Well, okay, so he's like the lightning guy, right? So yes, he could theoretically be powering and controlling all of these machines, but not remotely. Not remotely at all. Like, he would have to have some kind of direct connection to all of them. Yeah, doesn't make any sense, but fine. Well, no, sorry. You know what this actually means in Game Designer? Either we really wanted to use this, like, endgame boss again, or we want to, we couldn't think of a proper final boss for this game, or a way to make, like, a supercomputer fun to fight, so let's just break this guy back out again. It's one of the two. One of them is, like, revisiting old design in a way that's new and interesting. The other is lazy design, and I honestly can't tell which. It's lazy writing, but... Cal says Asimov is just Ultimate Spider-Man Electro. That, or, okay... Did any of you guys, when you were younger, play the PlayStation 1 era Spider-Man games? There were two of them, and they were really, really good. They were just based on the comics, no, like, televised or film adaptation, anything like that. The second game, Inner Electro, actually featured that character as the main villain. It was a really odd choice, I thought, at first. But as it turns out, Electro gains, like, borderline deific powers at the end, and serves as a really cool final boss in a similar vein to this guy. MC says, here's another possibility. Cal says, I've heard of those games, they're supposed to be some of the best ones. They really are. They were some of my favorite games growing up, and they're so good. Especially the second one, Inner Electro. It's much better than the first, even though the first is phenomenal, but it doesn't seem to have been remembered quite as well. And I don't mean in terms of public opinion, I mean, like, not as many people seem to know it exists. MC says after doing Gunvolt 2, they were sad that Copen was not a player character in the first game. Oh, so they like wanted to give him the opportunity to fight all of like the bosses from the first one. Given the DLC stages and secret missions in the second game, that seems to check out. This still makes no sense though, because he was working to destroy Sumeragi in the first game. And if he was... yeah, whatever. This is a mess. It's a damn mess, but it's cool. I do like the new color scheme. Okay, so... what are you weak to? Oh, maybe I have to use the Stellar Spark to fight you, a la Gunvolt. No, hold on. Maybe the Shrouds do something to you? Yes, it's his weakness. The Shroud Spirit, like, totally prevents any use of his powers, or seems to muffle his electricity. You've got multiple phases here too, don't you? Oh, voltaic chains again, isn't it? Yep. Damn it! I dashed right into them. But it's okay, we've got him. Cal says, I always took Asimov's speech here as this game is several hundred years after 2, but I don't know what I think now. It might be directly after 2 with how he says he has to create Blade in middle after 1 happened, and he shoots GV. Well, Copen is apparently a normal human using advanced technology to fight, and he's clearly still a young man, so I don't think he's immortal or something. So I would say, based on this phase of the fight alone, he's nowhere near as difficult as he was in the first game. I mean, still challenging, but not quite as bad. Oh, gotta use my dash more intelligently. Like so many of the ults in this game, it lasts for friggin' ever. I think after they made Gunvolt 2, they saw Tianjin's ultimate and were like, hey, why don't we make them all like that? MC says Copen is immortal in our hearts. That is very true. I adore this little bastard so much now. And Kyle says this boss is really hard. I still struggle with it on new files. Well, it seems like it's just the fact that so many of his regular attacks can totally ignore Prevasion, and that his ult, like so many of the bosses in this game, just lasts 100 years. Speaking of, here we go. It's that your positioning has to be so on point to avoid this sucker. Got you now, though. Well, got you into phase 2 anyway. Yeah, that would make more sense, though. He's also a hologram. That's not the end, though. What on earth? So I've noticed something, no matter who's present in my audience. A, I have this bizarre tendency, MC, we've talked about this before. I have this bizarre tendency to attract, like, experts in the games I play, and they almost always display this, like, sadistic interest in watching me get my ass handed to me, and almost nothing else. Like... Okay, this does make more sense. Asimov was just a projection, and the computer is the final boss. Oh, it's like messing with our interface.
だがくそカメラ愛が
Huh? MC says, well, yeah, that's how I came in for your Hand of Fate run. Minus the sadism, yes, you were actually extremely helpful straight through. And turn the final boss feasible, yeah.
貴様と会って
Cal says this is why Copen is weak to electricity. Yeah, he's...
と思っているお互い100年以上前の人間が当時のまま生きている
He's a robot?
そこに考えが及
Sure.
ばないと
Okay.
そうか貴様は長い年月で電子頭脳がエラーを起こしている道理で正気とは思えない世の中
Well, his father was like a really, really, proficient scientist, so... Okay. Oh, man! Check that out! That's pretty cool, actually. NC says, I mean, I have a little sense of sadism, but I tune it down because I know the pain. Fair enough, and very commendable. Wait, is this supposed to be GV?
何が浄化だ貴様のような化け物に人のように
It's either GV or Asimov. Oh no, Kyle, I'm not talking about you specifically. I mean, like, MC could tell you, throughout, like, our adventures on this channel, there has been this tendency of people, including some of my friends in real life, to tune in for games that they know very proficiently, and about half their messages are some variant of, oh boy, here we go. No, I get you, man, I get you. And thank you very much for the praise. Okay, so we're going to... Yeah, we're going to have to destroy the consoles. But you're not weak to my shroud anymore, are you? You're also very resilient to photon edge. Yep. It's explosions. It's always explosion. It's okay if you killed me. That's fine. I'm going to have to fight your first form again, aren't I? Yep. Oh no. Okay, so we can learn this broadly, though. Fortunately, his first form, if nothing else, has a very, very, very small health pool. But it's also got voltaic chains. I keep forgetting, he automatically hovers if, he automatically hovers most of the time, anyway. Hey, we leveled up. If that restores our health, we might actually have an N here. MC says, just like in real life, more explosions will eventually do the trick. There's a joke about American military intervention in there somewhere that my, like, training as a political scientist is, like, urging me to make, but I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna do it. I'm better than that. Oh yeah, and we did get all our health back. Question is, what is this thing's ult? And this is Asimov. Okay, he's just attained a purely immaterial form. And he's even messing with, like, the screen. That is very cool. I appreciate that. Oh my god! So this time he's using the same exact suite of abilities that Gunvolt did. Oh, I'm so scared right now. The hell? Oh, hell. You're invincible during this too, aren't you? shit. Are you kidding me? Yeah, there we go. Cal says it's over unless you see the future, yeah. And MC says, but talking about attracting experts of a game is likely due to your style of presentation and examination of the game you play. That does make sense, yeah. Just makes others want to share their passions as well. No, and I love that. I really do. I appreciate the fact that I get folks who are really, really passionate about certain types of games. Oh. Okay, so we just want to burn you down as quickly as we possibly can. I was curious to see if, like, I could somehow throw the spears directly into his chains to nullify them, but no dice. Oh, we are so screwed. Cal says I follow every Gunvolt game just in case someone plays them and just so happened to see you. Yeah, I'm a latecomer to this party. I've always heard of Gunvolt, but I actually had no idea what it actually was until, I guess I came across its TV tropes page or something, and I thought, hey, this looks a lot like Mega Man Zero. And as it happens, it was made by most of the same team, or certain aspects of the same team. So, I was like, oh, hell yeah. MC says, that's fair, I do the same for Uplink and sometimes Hand of Fate. Yeah, and you discovered this stream through Hand of Fate, specifically. Halves damage received during overdrive. None of these are going to help us, though. We're screwed, again. Oh, sorry, just a minute, guys. One moment. Just a minute! Sorry, are we still live? There we go. I think we're good. Let me double check and make sure all my devices are still plugged in. I had to scurry to get to the door to pick up my fourth massive box of textbooks for this forthcoming semester, or upcoming semester. And, yeah, we're good. Thank you very much, MC. Kyle says, I've been a fan of these games since the original releases of 1 and 2 on 3DS. Wow. And I was like, a collection of my favorite games is on Switch, and a new game in my favorite series is on Switch to take my money. That's fair. The Switch has a great library of indie games, man. Unfortunately, like, the eShop I've been reading has been getting flooded with, like, subpar titles due to, like, a Steam Direct / Greenlight-ish problem with, like, very, very low bars for accessibility. But no, they've got some great indie stuff all the same. NMC says, these are definitely games worth the interest in as a proper fan. You accept the flaws. Yeah. There are flaws in this game, but they're not damning, or this series, but they're not damning by any stretch of the imagination. God damn it, it just deals so much damage. Which is exactly the problem we had with Asimov in the first game, now that I think about it. But it looks like the trade-off is his final form doesn't have very many attacks. Oh, sorry, that's the wrong weapon. Whoopsie. If Yoshi's New Island taught us anything, it's that a bunch of cute, cuddly cloth may not be able to cause all that much damage, but it can still annoy the hell out of you. Oh, your positioning's just gotta be so perfect during voltaic chains here, though. Okay, let's see if we can't learn this now. I would be tempted to use, Blade's weapon on this thing, but it seems like that'd be just a little too high risk. Yeah, okay, we can learn these attacks. It's not too bad. Okay. It's the ult we're going to have to learn. Whoops. So it can electrify the ceiling or floor of ceiling and floor of the room as well. Oh Christ, here it goes. And if it's anything like every other ult in the game, it's going to last for ages. So it's going to come diagonally from one side, diagonally from the other. And they switch sides that time. Great. Kyle says, Indies carried the Switch for the first year. That's why I didn't buy my Switch for almost 2 years. Because I'm not really a mega fan of Zelda or Mario, so I needed a game I'm a fan of before I dropped $300+. That's totally fair. I was hesitant to get a Switch at first, too. I think it was Mario Odyssey that convinced me that, hey, this is definitely worth the investment. And fortunately, thanks to the innovations made in each series, I absolutely adored both Breath of the Wild and Odyssey. Nintendo kind of lost most of my investment right around the time of the Wii U, like late Wii era, all that. It seemed like a lot of their stuff was just very, very repetitious and kind of, don't get me wrong, very well made, but also kind of basic. And the new entries for major series on the Switch really restored my faith in the company, so I was very, very happy to see that, and haven't been disappointed with the game I bought on my Switch yet. MC says never got a Switch. Well, you have to be, like, a fan of either Nintendo or very specific indie games on console to make it totally worth the purchase, I think. Right, let's get our asses handed to us. How in the blue hell are you supposed to dodge it once it starts? Like swirling the orbs around, though. Like, we can't dodge through it, I don't think. We just have to be very, very lucky. Oh, I'm so dead. Kyle, that is true. They are porting so much of the Wii U library to Switch, which is a good idea, I think. If only because so many people passed on the console for that very reason. Or for the reason I gave earlier. We are so dead, but... And there's absolutely nothing that will help us here. Oh, Pikmin 3's coming to Switch in October? That's nice. And MC says I'm very fond of my PSP for Patapon and or Lumines. Oh, the Patapon games are great. I don't know that I ever played Lumines, though. Oh, thank you, God. By complete and total luck, we are going to make this. maybe. Holy hell. No! No! Are you shitting me? I'm sorry, guys, but this... Same problem we've had, or that recurred in this game. Asimov had this issue with voltaic chains being a one-hit kill in the first game. But in this game, I know I've kept going back to it, but it's something that has been considerably more frustrating for me than in other games. Like, Tianjin's in the second installment. Almost every boss in this game has an ult that just spams, effectively, a paralyzation field in certain areas of the screen over and over again, and if it connects, which it's very likely to do, will just eviscerate you, or, in the case of... well, this one has both, I believe. Just deals ridiculous amounts of damage to you over a series of moves that lasts unreasonably long. And, like, Copen's, what was I going to say? Oh, I didn't mean to do that. Not at all. I should have done that to win the fight the first time around, or the last time around. But, Copen's dashes are great, but they're not quite precise enough to say, demand me move into very specific areas and stay there, a la voltaic chains. Cause see, I have to dodge diagonally in certain directions. I can't dodge just straight up or down. Yeah, who gives a shit? I totally forget about my skill half the time, Kyle. That one is on me, but I forget I have it. I think in part because, unlike GV, Copen has, like... well, in this game, really, unlike GV, we don't even have the healing skill unlocked by default. We just have the one ult. And most of the time we have absolutely no call to use it. Oh, I so wish you could damage him in this form. If we could damage him, this would be an effortless fight, truly. Oh, shit! There we go. Oh wow, Kyle says it's my natural reflex because you kill a boss with your skill, you get 500 kudos. Nice. Did not realize that. Shit! It's just kind of hard to read its attacks, really. It looks like it'll use the orbs if you're near, and it'll electrocute the other jars if you're, well, not directly in front of it. Which, I mean, makes sense. That's how I would damage you if I had this moveset. Cal says, I think you got 1,000 kudos in Gunvolt 2, but they turned it down. Or they tuned it down. Yeah, because that would be almost an instant S rank in most cases, I would imagine. Okay. Cal says you get S plus for almost free in this game. Now, that is very nice. Are you kidding me? Well, it connected and then threw me right back in the path of one of his weapons. God damn it. We talked about this actually with, I think it was Copen's second fight in the first game, and it's something I have genuinely torn feelings over. Like, yes, this is challenging, but it's almost artificially so, or arbitrarily so, if at the tail end of a game you take away or something you've taught the player to rely on as a part of their strategy, not like just if they're having a tough time, i.e. prevasion and prevasion consuming your bullets, just to increase the difficulty of a certain fight. Like in this case, yeah, he's tough, but he's tough in large part because everything, or all of his attacks, instantly breach defenses that I've been taught I can rely on. Like that. Like, I mean, I'd say I'm sorry I'm playing poorly, but I honestly don't know that I am. Cal says, yeah, these endgame fights are just difficulty spikes. I get that feel. I did not. Oh, hell, I looked down. My index finger pressed, just barely pressed the triangle button as I was moving it across to the square button. The weird thing is, Gunvolt 2's endgame fight was, at least as Copen, was ludicrously easy. You done? There we go. I'm not really sure how to avoid the orbs when they disperse. It looks like it just might, hate to say it, be kind of a luck of the draw thing. All right. This actually reminds me a lot of the specific difficulty of Nova's second stage from the first game. If this isn't gonna kill him, it's gonna get him damn close. Oh, and he even has special art for his ult once he's damaged. Hey! Wow, okay. That did it. Or should've. And we destroyed the jars that were containing his energy, or most of them. Right, there we go. And Cal says, you aren't playing poorly specifically, it's just the difficulty of that you can't get hit at all, and if you die early on in Fight 2, you have to pray for Anthem. Yeah. Yeah, it's really, the hardest bit of the entire fight for me is Voltaic Chains. MC says, GG, time for the final boss. Oh, don't taunt me like that, or maybe there is more. There's one of the Zero games, I forget which, had a multi-stage final boss where you had to actually defeat every single stage in one go, lest you got bounced back to the beginning of either the fight or the entire stage, and it was really challenging. I think it was Zero 2. And we die anyway! Yay! Final stage time? We got the Overseer of the End trophy, and there's probably going to be one more fight, or one more stage, perhaps? Yep. Cal says now play through the entire game as Kohaku. You're joking. No? Okay. Good, good. Same thing we saw from the other games, I think, like we're going to come back in some kind of super-powered state. Not entirely sure why Asimov's doing this. I mean, it seems like he's dead anyway. That jar's on the verge of shattering. Love the electrical distortion effect on his voice, that's very nice. Huh. Oh, you ain't lying. Cal says that's my favorite part, where he says Voltaic Chain Meteor, but he's all distorted. Well, the distortion only becomes more drastic as well, or more evident as he, or after the fight, as he begins to disperse. No. How in the hell is this gonna work? MC says if the final boss kills that character, I will be happy. Okay, so we've got a credit screen. But it's not the end. Why would they do this? And let's be clear here. We're not going to be playing as either of, like, the Muse characters, so not, Jewel/Lumen or Lola. We're going to be playing as this child with horrible, like, aesthetic design, and I'm with MC on this. If the final boss kills this character, yeah, I'm not gonna feel that bad. And yeah, according to Kyle's reaction, it sounds like we are going to have to play as her. Doing that to me after a game where I get to play as Copen for the entire duration is just cruel, for the record. I would take GV back, honestly. Oh, the ending theme's great, though. Wow. Mega Man X, the first one specifically, also had a similar difficulty spike at the very end, where obviously with boss weaknesses you could just plow through the boss rematches, but the final boss, Sigma, his second stage specifically, was really, really tough. And it was actually technically a 3-stage fight, because you had to fight Sigma's pet robotic wolf, Velgarder, and then Sigma himself, before Sigma, like, transplants his energy into a gigantic mech that he had been assembling. MC says the world of Gunvolt is sinless, and then you beat me to the joke. After all, you killed them all in the first. Kudos to the voice cast. They did do, as Nugget pointed out earlier, some very solid work. The production values of this series is really, really solid. Again, I just, we talked about this before, but I need to bring it to the fore once more because it is my principal gripe with the series as a whole. Aside from maybe not quite enough enemy variation and not enough mid-bosses to really stick up to, like, the Mega Man X/Zero name, but, 4 titles produced nowadays, and even titles in the Mega Man Zero/ZX sort of tradition, they are fairly short and don't offer quite enough content to fully satiate me, which makes it a relatively minor nitpick. That I really like what's here, I just wish there was more of it. But, like, for a game originally released on the Game Boy Advance, Zero, and I think actually everything up until maybe 0, 3, or 4 was released on Game Boy Advance, those games were considerably longer, nearly twice as long, I would say, and included much more content in the way of bosses and things like that. Not weapons, necessarily, but bosses and character upgrades and stages and all of that. There was way more in that series. This is a shorter, kind of arcadier feeling series that I feel really wants to emphasize, like, score and time attacks and things like that, which is fine, but given how good the bosses are in this game in particular, I really would like to see more of them and more mid-bosses in the vein of the series it takes so much of its inspiration from. That aside, what we have here is really good, again. This is the smoothest and kind of the cleanest feeling entry in the series thus far. Like, I feel they took Copen's excellent gameplay from the second game and kind of polished it. What improvements are there is kind of incremental. Yes, and Kyle says that's why I wish Gunvolt 2 had more bosses for both characters. It's so short by the time you get to the end of just one character's campaign. That's true, and even both campaigns specifically, if you were to cut out all of the content that each character has to play through that is virtually identical for both, it is a pretty short experience. Like, 0-1, I want to say, if I were to play through the whole thing near flawlessly, would probably be at least 6 hours, give or take, maybe a little more if I got everything. And again, that's for a Game Boy Advance game. These games are somewhere in the neighborhood of 4-ish hours if you got a really clean playthrough, and maybe less than, I would say less than that in the case of Gunvolt 1 in this game. Gunvolt 2, probably 4 hours. Yep, here we go. We're really doing this. Well, hey, though. As much as I dislike this character's design, I think it's, again, really, like, sexualized and kind of, like, offensive in that regard. Offensive and kind of gross. Maybe her playstyle is going to be really, really cool. After GV and Copen, I'm hopeful. Oh, you've got to be kidding me. He's still... Oh, wait, no, he would still be around because this massive, MC says, imagine she plays as Lust. You mean like as Zonda? That'd be really cool. Like any of Zonda's forms. It makes sense that Asimov is still around because they mentioned when we came here in the main campaign, like to fight the CEO, this is a massive facility. Apparently the whole thing's computerized, and he has to have been able to store backups of himself somewhere. And if he's purely energy-based now, all we really were able to destroy earlier wasn't Demazol itself, wasn't like the mainframe he backed himself up onto, it was like a weapon he manifested himself into. Or manifested himself through. Yeah, Kyle says when he kills Lil, he says he needs to rest. That's right. Oh! Oh, shit! They wouldn't be this nice to us after everything we've gone through, would they? Are we gonna get to play as her? We're gonna get to play as, like,
説明と食材は
one of the, or the only, like, pre-final boss that gave us any trouble?
今は行くんだ。
正直何が何なのか全然
Probably not. But if we could, oh man.
分かったお姉ちゃん私行くね。
ああ、走れ琥珀。残るはお前たちだ。デマーゼル、私を駒として操り。
If so, she'd be very reminiscent of Zero, who I loved playing as both in the X and Zero series. Technically ZX, you could get like Zero's moveset, and he was quite solid in that as well, or it was quite solid in there as well. The cool thing about ZX is as you progress through the series, or each game in the series, I say series, there's 2 games before, like, Capcom decided that Mega Man just wasn't happening again, and when it was, it would be just like throwbacks to the Retro series. Bad business decision, in my opinion, but fair enough. As you progress through each game in the series, you get more, not weapons, but completely distinct movesets. Or not even movesets, like character builds, right down to, like, the way your character moved around the environment, whole new sets of attacks and special moves and all that. It's really cool. MC says gigantic eyes, she is blind. It's fair. Kyle says, are we going to talk about how this 14-year-old, again, 14-year-old, I'll say, jumped down the massive elevator shaft Copen did and didn't kill herself?
こんなになるまで戦ってくれた。
I'm guessing she was able to find a way to climb down or something. MC says we cannot talk, Kyle, we cannot talk about plot holes. This is anime. That's fair. That's fair. Let's not forget that the final boss of this game is someone we killed in the first one. And not as in we struck him down. He exploded, I'm fairly certain. Or, no, sorry. More definite than that. We, like, caused him to bleed out, and his entire organization confirmed that he died at the end of the first game. Like, he was unresponsive.
スメラギの管理コンピューターデマーゼル、私たちは明らか。
So she's got Copen's weapon. Cal says clearly she has rocket boots too. Maybe.
私が
She did say she was going to take a bunch of weapons and, like, gear that the adult Minos had left behind. Oh, well, maybe we don't need to play as her. Maybe that did it.
琥珀、ロ、ミクス、3人とも早く帰ってくるのです。
大丈夫。3人とも
MC says she missed. Oh man, don't do that to me.
琥珀さんが待っててって。
That or he like possesses, or Asimov possesses her and she's the final boss.
おい、あれ。
Cal says she brought a shotgun to stop gravity from killing her and then dropped it so her sister has to save her. Again, it's anime. It's just... Hey, we're all fine. Even Lola, the most important part of the team. Lola looks none the worse for wear, really. Luminous Avenger X. Is that it? Do we get anything special? If we log back in, is there post-game content?
クリアおめでとう。
Cal says, yeah, as long as Copen isn't dead, Lola can be fixed. That's right, because she is, though he would never say as much, technically, her adept. Are these just boss rush missions?
ここから先はスペシャルミッション。
Yes.
難度のステージと強化されたボスがこの難関突破することができるかな。
MC says in an alternate game, the enemy would turn the kids into monsters to fight, and we would cheer. Oh man, wouldn't that be cool though? If like after all this, in like to be clearer, especially to like viewers of the VODs and maybe MC. I don't think you're that familiar with like the Mega Man X forward formula. The idea is like the basic gameplay formula is you play through one set of stages, either picking from a menu of 8 or you're just given 4 to play through in any order you would like. Once you're halfway through the stage selection, by playing through the 4 that are given to you, or crossing 4 off the board of 8 you're given, you play through a special mid-game stage where you fight a particularly, like, plot-relevant and kind of intimidating foe. It's usually a short stage, like we have here, right? And like we had in Gunvolt 2. Then you play through the back half, another series of 4, or the 4 remaining from the menu of 8. Then you play through a series of anywhere from 2 to 4, like, end-game stages and a final boss gauntlet and all that, just like we did here. Man, if after that they were to say, no, psych, subversion of expectations, we've got another set of 4 enemies for you to fight, and then a real final boss stage. Like, it doesn't sound like a lot, but as somebody who grew up with this type of game, specifically this, like, lineage of franchises, that'd be really cool. And yes, it would get rid of the annoying, like, support characters. Right on. So we technically beat the game, save the bonus missions. And amazingly, due to how difficult Asimov's boss fights, which despite my frustration, I will say, were fairly well designed, they just required us to learn and implement strategies that, and this is where my criticism would come in, I would say, we aren't really encouraged to do anywhere else in the game. It's a really good game. Easily my favorite of the trilogy so far, or the series so far, in terms of its boss design, both visual and mechanical. And MC says, yeah, you're describing what I find so exhilarating in Cliff Empire. Yeah, no, subversion of expectations, especially in the vein of, hey, there's even more of this thing you really like, is always something I'm going to applaud. We do have the Blade special DLC fight, and then all of these special missions, which are just remixed regular stages and bosses, I'm sure. But that is going to be Azure Striker Gunvolt, or Gunvolt Chronicles Luminous Avenger. And it's really good, really solid. And MC says, of course, it needed to be well designed, absolutely. And I'm quite pleased we took the time to explore all these games together. I'm really now looking forward to the third game, which was recently teased. I want to say like last month or a couple months ago, and should be coming to the Nintendo Switch and probably other platforms as well, after the fact, sometime pretty soon. With that said, MC says it's often poorly exploited. Yes, it is. And the way I see it poorly implemented, this type of subversion and continuance of a game, is it's like, oh hey, now you have to play through all of these stages again. They've been made slightly harder or adjusted very, very incrementally, like barely modified. And you're going to fight slightly harder versions of all the bosses you have already, or something like that. And then you get one brand new stage or one brand new fight, instead of, hey, now that you made it through all that, subversion. We've got brand new stages, bosses, challenges for you to tackle, like, that you've never seen before. Which is always, you know, really, really fun, and it's like, wow. There are games also, very rarely, I've read, I don't know that I've played any where I could say this was true myself, that do just stretch themselves on, while introducing legitimately new content, way too long, past what feels like a natural conclusion. I've not seen many of those, but I have heard they're out there. They're usually like obscure RPGs. But we're going to have to leave it for there, folks, since we have made it to the natural conclusion of this stream. Wow, what a game. I will have more thoughts, more coherent thoughts on the Gunvolt series thus far, probably to share on tomorrow's stream, when we will be tackling, unless there's anything else somebody wants me to segue into immediately. We'll be showing off Bloodborne, a game that, again, I've not played in some time, but like the Dark Souls trilogy, I am quite intimately familiar with and have a great deal of love for. A game that introduces one of my favorite Soulsborne weapons early on and allows you to power through the entire game with it. and a game which I have not actually played the DLC for. The notoriously difficult and well-crafted, both in terms of story and mechanics, Old Hunters DLC. I can't wait to tackle that with you guys. And if we're talking about subversion of expectations, oh my god, you guys, Bloodborne. Bloodborne takes everything you expect it to be, especially in terms of plot and setting, and totally turns it on its head in a pretty unexpected way toward the end of its, or I would say the middle of its second act, I should say. Can't wait to show that off for you guys. We're going to be playing Bloodborne tomorrow, unless, again, there's something that our Discord community, our little community of friends here on Twitch, would like us to play first. And following that, hopefully I'll have my capture card up and running, because Bloodborne's going to take us a while. Nowhere near as long as Dark Souls 2, probably about as long as the first Dark Souls game. So maybe a week, give or take? Depends on how much of the randomly generated content, yes, randomly generated content, I decide to show off. But yes, MC says Gunvolt's a good series and needs more love. I agree wholeheartedly, man. It's fantastic, and I wish we could get more. Hopefully we see this from Gunvolt 3. A game in this series that is a bit meatier, has more content in it, so we can really take the time to appreciate everything it has to offer. Because these games are fantastic, but man, once you get really comfortable with the mechanics or the systems of one, it feels like it's already over. Which is a shame, because they're so good. They're so good. I don't think I've seen a fight or a stage in this series that I can say after the fact, once maybe I've gotten acclimated to it, even though it may have been frustrating, I don't appreciate. There's some maybe I would have changed to be a little bit more to my taste, but everything we have here is really, really good. So until then, until tomorrow afternoon when we take on Bloodborne, stay involved, or, sorry. This is what happens when you are locked away from most human interaction outside of a microphone for half a year. You start forgetting how to talk. Scheduling information and updates for Bloodborne will be posted in our Discord. Please feel free to drop down to the bottom of my Twitch channel's description page to access a permanent link to that channel if you would care to join our extremely positive and enthusiastic community of video game aficionados over on Discord. Until then, ladies and gentlemen, I will be seeing you guys tomorrow. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Thank you all so much for spending your time with us this afternoon. Goodbye.